In this episode of the Encourage Inspire podcast, I'm joined by veteran music producer, sound designer, and record label owner, as well as music industry consultant, Keith Clizark. Man, this is a great episode, man, because Keith and I got connected on LinkedIn, and he's been one of my supporters from afar for many years. So it was only a matter of time before I did to get him onto the podcast, man. I'm so glad that he was able to come on with me. And we started off the episode talking about the power of LinkedIn and why there's so many opportunities to build genuine relationships with people that are even outside of the creative space to be able to create a network that can help you build out your business overall. Um, we talked about Keith's career, and he brought us through a chronological order of kind of where he started to how he ended up where he is today. And then we got into um, some understanding the importance of what record deals are. Do you need them? Do you not? He gave the insight on that, as well as understanding and having the right mentality and strategies when it comes to thinking about alternative finance options like bank loans in terms of trying to get funding for your music career. We ended the episode on a variety of topics on insights on education, the significance of understanding contracts, as well as the work that Keith has done through his various different companies like Team Master Entertainment, his Team Winning Consulting, his consulting company, as well as his record label, Team Mashing Records, and his sound design division of his company. Again, this has been another great episode, man. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Encourage and Inspire podcast. This is episode number 86. And I have a very special guest with me today. I have a producer, sound designer, record label owner, consultant, so many things going on. My man Keith Clizark, man. How you doing today?
What's good, fam? What's good, man? Thanks for having me.
Hey man.
Hey, salutes to you, fam. I've been watching, very impressed, man. So first and foremost, salutes to you. And I think this episode is special to me in a different way. 86 was the year I graduated. 86, 8 and 6 is 14. It's a derivative of 7. One of my favorite numbers. So 86 holds a special uh thing for me. So yeah, happy to be on the show.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Hey, I love that. I love that. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Okay.
Man, perfect, man. You HD. Let's get it.
Okay, great, man. So I always love to start these episodes first, man. Like, well, first thing, man, we connected. I think we connected online. I think we connected this. You just seeing my content. I'm pretty sure that's how we locked in. On
Yeah, no,
Body Link. Oh, did we get
LinkedIn.
connected?
I remember. See, here's the thing with me, man. Since inception, taking it way back when people were going from like MySpace to Facebook, it was either from MySpace to Facebook or LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I opted into LinkedIn. I never ever set up a Facebook page ever. But
I know you right. You have it.
I've been cultivating on LinkedIn, trying to build a community. You feel what I'm saying? So when someone touched down, I do my best to welcome them to LinkedIn first and foremost, and to encourage them to continue to be consistent and post that it can work for you. And when I saw you hit my radar, I was on it. I was impressed, and I saw the possibilities in what you can do. So definitely, I'm an advocate for you, for sure.
Hey man, I really do appreciate that. Yeah, I love LinkedIn, man. It's one of those platforms that is really designed for the professional social platform, obviously, but really designed to get connected with really great professionals, especially if you're in a creative space, if you're trying to music supervisors, people on the business side, may not. Uh-oh.
There you go. Don't touch nothing.
Okay, we're good. Okay.
Yes, sir.
People on the business side that maybe that aren't necessarily on Facebook, but they're the people you want to know. You know what I'm saying? In terms of what we're doing on obviously LinkedIn is for people who are trying to just build their professional networks, things like that. But
that part,
it's very, very imperative for people who want to build out their music business, their entertainment companies, to connect with people on LinkedIn, because these are the power players behind the scenes. I think so many creatives get it mistaken because they go after the big names that they know. But
right.
I think it's natural for them to say, okay, well, it happens to me all the time. Well, who have you helped? Oh, and if I don't name to them a celebrity, like
right,
they're like, well, you must not be of any value to me. But they don't understand. Like, most celebrities can't do what you think
man.
they
That's
can do for you.
They're looking at 1%, and they're striving for the 1%.
Right.
I mean, it looks good, but the reality of it is, it's the 1% that they're
Absolutely.
looking at and trying to emulate. And there's everything that's sub level, man. There's so much room. And just going back to the LinkedIn, to your point, it's like it's 6 degrees of separation. Like, if you're an artist and you're trying to expand your entertainment company, like you said, it's like there's components like the what, why, and the hows to scale you as an artist and your brand and your entertainment company. And the people, the specialists that you need are there on LinkedIn. You can tap into them and create these organic relationships with them. It just goes back to understanding the business, and that's what you're there for. And kind of, I'm there for too, consulting too. It's not all about the music. And I tell artists all the time, it's like it's a shitload of great music out there. Everyone is producing great music, but they don't have the business side of it. They don't know how to brand and scale what they have going on. They're stuck.
Absolutely.
So I digress on that.
No, man, we could definitely get into that. I mean, so many of them don't think about themselves as a brand, especially nowadays in the social era, because everything is quick and fast. And what I love, there's things I love about this era, there's things I don't love about it. I love the fact that we have access more than we ever had before, but people can make an argument that maybe we have too much access, because there used to be a filter, and you could filter out the people that deserve to be here or that have put in the work to be here versus people that really have no business being here. And I think, in the entertainment business, there is no shortage of people. Because if you play this thing right, you can always have things to do, because there's no shortage of people who want to be making records and being in this business. There never will be a shortage of it, because it's entertainment. Who doesn't want it? First of all, we need it. We can't go through life without it. You work a lot in music and in the film space. I mean, can you imagine a film without music in it?
Yeah, that's boring.
Yeah, so if you know what you're doing, you can if you understand the business side of music. I always tell people, and I guess we'll jump around in this episode. We're just having a good time, man. I always tell people there's three sides. There's the music industry, there's the music business, and there's the business of music.
Yep.
And so many people are chasing the music industry, but not understanding you don't need the music industry to be involved in the music business if you understand the business of music, right? So
this is what I tell them, fam. I master the music, learn the business, and outsmart the industry.
Oh my gosh! Yep, same deal, same thing. Because I think
it's there. Not to cut your wisdom, but it's there for the independent artist. With digital, it's a double-edged sword. You feel what I'm saying? Now you're set up to be self-made. you know. And when I get artists coming at me, it's like they say I'm trying to get a deal. I'm like I don't consult people on how to get a deal or connect a deal. That's not how it works.
Right.
And to break through that, what you're telling me is that you don't have any money to invest into your vision.
Right.
That's why you want to do. That's what it all breaks down to. You know, let's get real, fam. You know, you can have the artistry part down, but if you don't have money to invest in the business, then what do you have? It's like, what business? Think about it. McDonald's or any model, if they didn't put money into it, it's not a business. It can't expand. It can't go no place.
Right.
You know, so until these independent artists understand that and just wipe out getting a deal, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Right. If you're not willing to invest into your dreams because it's your dream, you feel what I'm saying?
Right.
No, you can't expect no one else to invest into your dream. You know, we're gonna get all the way into it. They may not like me after this, but it's real, and y'all need to hear this for real. You know,
no, man, it's so true. I think that first of all, people don't understand that this is a very, very expensive ass business.
Yes.
To be in. It just is. You know, shout out to Wendy Day, Rap Coalition. I'm sure, you know, and she always says she's been doing this successfully for 30 years, 30 plus years. And she says she says she can't, I don't know if you know who she is, but she's obviously she started out with a rap nonprofit called Rap Coalition in 1992. And and then she was helping independent artists get out of bad deals going all the way back to the 90s. Work with Master P. Because people, some people you work with, you know. I mean, which you'll get into.
A lot of work for her back then, I'm sure.
Yeah. She got Master P out of one of his deals, and worked with Eminem and a lot of cats, and she would get them out of bad situations because a lot of times back then you didn't know. But she said that when she's building up an independent artist, she can't do it for less than $150,000. To blow. I mean, and this is when they're like close. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously you can do it for a lot less, but if you want to do it the way where you want to basically have money coming back into your company.
Minimum, you needed that.
Yeah, so she said like she said she's been doing this a long time. She said she the $150,000, and that's not even a guarantee, but that's just the minimum of what it would take to see money coming back into the company. You know,
facts.
So it's true. You know, I'm working with an artist right now. He's a good friend of mine, Jimmy Mack. He's an older cat, and I love the fact, Keith, that I've been saying this lately, that we've taken ageism from hip hop because it's the only genre of music that we do this in. We don't do this in any other genre. For some reason, people think when you're past 40 or past 50, somehow you're too old to rap, but the rap genre is only 50 years old. So that mathematically, that can't make sense.
Right. No, I get it all the time, fam. And you know, I feel you. I'm 55, right?
Right.
I'm still relevant. I'm not producing them records anymore, but I'm still relevant.
Absolutely.
And this is how I explain to people who are up there in age and feeling the pressure of ageism, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Ageism. It's art, fam. First and foremost, we got to understand that this is art.
Absolutely.
Imagine telling Da Vinci or Michelangelo in their old age, like, man, what the hell you doing still painting these damn pictures? You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
It's art, and as an artist, you're only supposed to get better.
Right.
You know, hip hop is a genre. It's just one strain of artistry. Hip hop allows an artist to express. Hip hop and rap, R&B, that's just a way to express your artism. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Your artistry. So with that in mind, I've been able to deprogram a lot of artists who was feeling the pressure, the psychological pressures of ageism. It's look at it as art. You're not following no trends because you're your own person and you're just painting pictures, and your picture shouldn't look like anyone else's picture but your picture. If you focus on that, you're good. You can age well. You can mature well if you do it that way. But if you up there and you trying to follow trends, it's not going to end well for you.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. That's real talk. And when Jimmy first, I had to coach him because, of course, we met around 2018 at an event because we had some mutual friends, and we started working together. We started kind of communicating, and he had been doing music, going back to the '80s, in high school and things like that. They had, and he had a couple bad situations. Ended up kind of giving it up for a while. Went to the military and all kind of things. And then he just said, man, he just never left me. So he wanted to do it. But the difference was he had to learn how it works in this era. And so initially I had to talk him into, bro, you have to get comfortable with social media. For some reason, a lot of these older cats, I've worked with a few of them now, 50 plus years old, and they don't understand that you don't necessarily have to make music for young people, but you have to embrace the tools and technology that we have now. Yes. Social media allows you to be able to do things your way because it's your channel. You get to promote whatever you want to promote.
Right.
It's not a record company, because going back to record companies, they used to dictate what you can and can't do. And what we don't understand about record companies is they don't build brands. They sell music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, to this day and age, you are a brand. So that's why there's a disconnect there, because artists are going to labels or try to get to the building. Like, that's not what they do. They sell, they sign you.
Yeah.
Put up a budget for you to make recorded music. And then, or we're talking in the old era, it's a little different now, but it would sell your music for a profit. The problem is artists don't understand that when you're paying back that, and we won't call it a tradition because it's not a traditional loan. It's a very lopsided loan because you're not paying it back dollar for dollar. Because in most loans, you would pay back dollar for dollar. In the music industry, you're paying back your advance.
Whatever you negotiated.
Off of a royalty, which is a lot of times between 15 to 18%.
Man, it's gonna take forever to recoup.
Right. So you never recoup. But people never recoup. They just never do it because it's
here's let me break it down. Let me bounce off of what you're saying.
Okay.
People like, okay, you get $1 million advance, right? So they thinking in their mind, okay, the first $1 million, we all good.
Right.
No.
Right.
Now it goes to what you sign on that paper. Now, if you only getting like say 20%, so they made $1 million. So 20% of that $1 million is what? $20,000.
Yep.
So then that's only $20,000 that go towards the $1 million that you owe. You feel me? So they got to recoup another $10 million for you to recoup that $1 million.
Absolutely.
So it's a crazy loan, man. I'd rather take a chance and go to a bank, get a business plan, man, and bank on myself than to go to. I don't even recommend people trying to get a deal. I try to discourage them at every point. And if they can get past that and go want to bump their head or touch it and see if the fire is hot, then I let them go ahead. But that's not where it's at. That's not these record labels. It's not the model anymore. They're not creating these artists. You got to be a viable asset coming into the door. The analytics got to break down. They got to see what you're doing in order to project what you could do, and then in their mind project what they're going to give you as an advance. And be on top, be ahead, and still be ahead of the game. So it's just crazy the way it is. The industry, unfortunately, man, it's real fucked up. Excuse my language.
No, you good, bro. You good. Yeah, we good. Yeah, you good. Yeah, man. It's unfortunate because a lot of people, now I'm not against record companies by no means. So this is not a bash record label, but what it is you have to understand when it's time, or if it's ever the right time.
If you partner with them, not to cut you, only where it's viable if you're doing some kind of partnership with them where you having access to the marketing and promotional pipeline. You feel what I'm saying? Right. Other than that, just being signed as an artist is not where it's at.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say. It has to be a partner situation. It's some kind of JV deal, things like that, because it just doesn't make lucrative sense to do that when most of the times they don't know. I mean, That's why I try to tell people. You think these record label people know what the hell they're doing? Hell no. All they do is they're guessing too. They guess, and these A&Rs guess. Everybody guesses. So
Yeah, man.
nobody can definitively tell. We can't ethically, not me or you or nobody. We can't ever tell anybody for sure this is going to hit what we want it to hit. This is art, and I always tell people that the only thing that about art that's objective is the making of it. Once we make it, it's all subjective after that.
It's all subjective.
All of it, and we're hoping and we're praying. You know that not hoping and praying, but we can't for sure tell somebody, yeah, this is gonna go. We hope it does, but we can't predict it though.
Well, back then, they had a system.
Yeah.
Right. The three powerhouses, Sony, Universal, and Warner, they had systems.
Right.
All the way to marketing, to getting it on the radio, getting it into movies, getting it wherever you can think of. Mm-hmm. They did have a way to really assure a hit. You feel me?
Yeah, that is true. They could curate it. They could curate sound.
Mm-hmm.
They could curate it back then because there would be bidding awards
all across the board.
Yeah, and you wouldn't go to a certain label. Because I remember Montel Jordan telling the story about him being an R&B cat and get signed to Def Jam, but Def Jam back then wasn't really an R&B label. It was a hip hop label. So the only formula they really knew was we got an R&B cat, let's put a rapper on. Because they didn't really know how to how to really promote R&B. I think the same thing happened with 50 and GWUN when they had Olivia, because 50's a master of what he does. But I think when they tried to put Olivia as that kind of first lady, it didn't work because they didn't know how to do it, because you can't. Her fan base first of all, she was coming from Clive Davis from J Records at the time. But her fan base, who's going to GWUN shows? Dudes. And street cats. It just wasn't going to. You could put on as many hooks as you want to, but it just wasn't gonna work. So I think and 50 hasn't had that many failures in music, but I wouldn't call it a failure. It just didn't work. I hate when you were failure.
He would have, not to cut you off, he would have had to put more money into Olivia than what he wanted to do, because she's a standalone. There's no way you can morph that into GWUN. He would have had to build her as a standalone. It would have took a whole lot of money.
Absolutely, which is why a lot of people don't want to. Female acts, cost a lot of dough, because you can't just set them on the road. With dudes, you go, hey, y'all gonna get in this Spritter van, y'all gonna go. And we gonna be. You get 2 hotel rooms or 1 hotel room, and there's gonna be 6 motherfuckers in there, and y'all figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But with a woman, you can't do that. She needs her own bathroom. She needs makeup. It becomes even more, and it's already expensive, and it becomes even more expensive with women. So a lot of times, that's kind of why a lot of people don't like to invest into female acts, because you have to put a lot more money into them naturally. Just because that's just what it costs for them. But
you can make a lot of money. You can make a shitload of money. That lane is clear. But you know what's really been slept on is teenage kid groups.
Okay. Yeah.
Man, my mind, I'm open. If I run across one, oh boy, it's a wrap, man. It's like we're the teenage idols. Everyone want to be grown. Everyone want to this grown content, man. That's the wrong message to send to these children, man.
I agree.
I'm all about, man, man, and just while we on it, just while we going left, this hip hop is fucked up, man. Music is fucked up. I'm not mad at Nas back in the day when he said hip hop died, man. That shit did die. I'm just mad that he remixed it and tried to make it politically correct, man. But I got the message.
Okay, dive into that a little bit. I think that might have. So go a little bit more into it. What you mean by that?
All right, so we take it back to the essence of hip hop, man. Hip hop was like for the people and by the people. You dig what I'm saying? It had a message, and it was a message in the music, you know, and it wasn't expected to blow up like it did. You dig what I'm saying? Once the corporation saw it, the potential of it, and then they commercialized it, right? It was kind of cool in the 80s. You know, the 80s, they say it was a golden age. A lot of great individuals sprouted in the 80s, especially the late 80s, like 88 was the mecca, you know. I kind of lost my thought, fam. It's like
it's all right. It's all right.
No, I want to pick it up. I was going someplace, man. What was I saying?
We were talking about how hip hop was. You know, you got the
okay, got it. Yeah. Okay. The 80s was cool, and then the 90s they really infiltrated and influenced hip hop to tap into the masses, because the masses tapped into hip hop, and the powers that be, man, tapped into hip hop, gained control of it. And that's in the 90s, that's when you start seeing all these prisons and whatnot being built and whatnot. They needed people to feel it. I mean, the people know the story, it's out there. So I'm just saying, just from there, it's been like influenced, you know, and just moving through the 90s into the 2000s up until where Nas said that. And, you know, that's what he was talking about. You know, it's like, it's poison. There's no more real message in the music, you know. In essence, hip hop did die, you know, because it's just only few. Thank God for J. Cole. Thank God for people like Kendrick Lamar and a few other people who are out there like keeping the hip hop spirit alive, you know. A whole bunch of artists I can name, but they're not really getting the spotlight like that, except for like, you know, Kendrick and like, you know, the guy.
For sure.
Like
for sure. I think you're right. I think there's a space, but thankfully, I mean, and I think there's a lot of independent acts that are trying to do that. I think that of course they don't have the biggest spotlight because if they're independent and they don't have the
Stop looking for the spotlight, man. Build your organic community, man, from 100 to 200 to 1,000. As long as they fucking with you, if you don't, people have these, they looking at the 1%. You're not gonna touch that in real life. People are trying to live videos, man. That's a video. They trying to live that in their real life, man. Come on, that's not where it's at, man. Life is real.
That's, you know, I agree with you, bro. Hey, you speaking my language. I think that, and that's why I'm glad you talking like this, so people really need to hear what that means, because I think that, you know, people who, for instance, you know, the Grammys just passed, and shout out to Killer Mike, did his thing. Great album, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, he did do a great album, and I'm glad he won the Grammys. But I think that people who live for these awards and things like that, there's motherfuckers who have Grammys that are broke, that can't pay a bill, that can't do anything.
So they done pawned their Grammy away. They ain't got the Grammy no more.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think that, you know, I think I was in a situation working with a label, an independent label, where else, bro, that's all they want to pitch is. I'm like, first of all, we didn't even do no work to win a Grammy, and who cares? Because it doesn't validate you as an artist. Like that's glitz and glam. That doesn't validate who you are as an artist if you don't have a Grammy or not. There's 9 million people.
Right.
There's 9 million artists across the world. Less than 10,000 people are signed to some kind of label or some city of a label. So most people will never win those kind of awards anyway. So if you go your whole career chasing these awards, you're going to be highly disappointed. You know, because so many people are like, it like you said, it's politics. It's not designed for everybody to win these awards. It's just not designed that way. You know what I'm saying? And then if you spend, you know, so like you said, it's about building your own organic community and loving on that and serving them. And man, that makes it so much more simple, man. So much more simple. But I want to get into your story a little bit, man, personal story. So, you know, when did you first, you know, fall in love with music? You know, when your earliest memories of music, and you're like, man, this is something that was special to me. Like, I would love to ask that question.
No, that's easy one, man. That was definitely a marker in my life.
Right.
And the record was Flashlight. You know, I was at a barbecue at my aunt Barbara's house, you know, like 7 or 8 years old. I was young, and they played the record. You dig what I'm saying? And I didn't know what it was, but I was gonna be a part of it, right? And it wasn't until like hip hop came along,
Okay.
And I remember a friend of mine, his name was Keith, also Keith Thompson, DJ Slice. He played this record, Rapper's Delight, and it's like my mind was blown, fam. It's like, what is this? What the hell? What is this?
Right.
I just remember playing the record over and over again, and it's like, yeah, that's it. Now I know what I want to do. I got the bug from listening to Flashlight, and when hip hop came, I knew what I wanted to do with that feeling, right? And that, from breakdancing to popping to, forming a crew, becoming a DJ, you dig what I'm saying? Getting turntables and mixers, just the whole thing of putting it all together, just seeing this new thing being formed, hip hop, So I tapped in to really locked into producing and being a DJ, I made the beats for my crew, 16, 17 years old, into production, doing it. And once I graduated high school, I got a chance to go to a college that was like number 3 in the nation in their music program. Like they had all the SSL boards and all the different high-tech Macs and whatnot back then, so it took my game to the next level for sure. Okay, so I'm just giving you guys kind of chronological order of how I got to where I'm at right now. So follow me, right? So it's in college, I got into broadcast radio too, being on the air, a DJ in that form and fashion, and also working for the first hip hop station in the world, a station called 1580 K-Day. I was a mobile DJ. I got a chance to DJ different concerts and different high school dances and proms and different community events, at an early age, living in Long Beach, being able to go out to Los Angeles and whatnot and just see different people like Ice Cube before in high school, just seeing all these different people in high school, not knowing that later years they're going to be freaking huge and whatnot. So that was a cool hindsight experience coming up in college. But from there, man, it's like I got my first, someone bought a beat and I got a taste of that. And I'm like, man, this is where I can do it. I can convert all what I've been feeling and I can make money with it. So I jumped off into it, man, and never turned back. And living in Long Beach, on the east side of Long Beach, needless to say, me, Snoop, Warren G, Nate, we all, grew up in the same community, and we all commune around VIP Records, which was a famous record shop in Long Beach that had a studio in the back. Jamie Foxx, all kind of people came through there. All kind of, different people came through there way back in the 90s and whatnot. So got a chance to produce records on Snoop, and people like the East Siders, Master P, when Snoop went over there to produce some people, C Murder, the list is a vast list. I'm not going to list it all. But, but, the older I got and the further I got into the game, I'm skipping over a whole bunch of stuff. Each record that I went platinum on has a story behind it. It's all that glitters ain't gold. It's good. It's a blessing, but it's a lot of work and sacrifice that's behind it to make things happen. People think things just happen, and it's just, man, just sleepless nights, man, being away from your family, all kind of strife that go with success, and a lot of people don't have the stomach for it. So, I reached a level, fam, to be honest with you, that I knew I wanted to be a part of it, but thinking multi-platinum or award-winning, that wasn't on my radar. My thing was I was geeked with that someone paid me to do what I love to do. I was getting paid to do it,
Right.
And with that being said, with Warren G, bringing him in the fold, when he got his deal, he signed me to his production company, and I got a chance, like, really to see the business up close with Ron G, was Warren uncle. He was managing Warren. Mm-hmm. And I found myself spending a lot of time at Ron's office, and I saw tours being negotiated, deals up close, mm-hmm. like on the phone with him, like he covered up and look at me, like type thing, like intricate, mm-hmm. seeing it. And man, and that was so prolific beyond, I didn't know that was setting me up for what I'm doing today, being up close, seeing how it really happens. Yeah. And at the same time, being a producer and being able to being guided through it on another level with Warren G and his uncle Ron, was amazing. And I don't even have words for what it instilled in me to get to the level that I'm at right now. But that was a big part, another marker in my career. But from there, man, I knew I didn't want to be like a 40, 50-year-old producer. I took it to a point to where I'm beyond what I set out to do. Now I want to, people behind me, I want to set up situations to where they didn't have to go through some of the things that I had to go through. Okay. So I formed my own company, which has different divisions in it, and got into the consulting of things, and kind of that's where I'm in a nutshell. Unless you ask me specific questions, fam, that's where I'm at now. Bananas with the consulting, connecting people with people in a whole bunch of like huge projects, man, in the tech area and entertainment. The consulting is like
yeah. I want to get into that. Definitely want to get into that a little bit. Hold on 1 second. Something's going on here. Cool, man. Yeah. So you talk about consulting, man. So again, I do a lot of consulting myself, and I think, and I always say, man, education, man, is the missing link, because this is an industry where so many people want to be in the game, but they don't want to learn. That's the boring side. They don't want to go to the conferences or go to certain events to learn what you need to be learned in order to be successful. Mm-hmm. Because a mentor told me this a long time ago: no two people's path is ever the same. Mm-mm. You might have similarities. You might have similarities, but it's never exactly the same. And I think so many people try to copy somebody's journey. I'm like, it doesn't work that way. Everybody has a different journey towards success.
Yeah. You don't get what you get. You only get what you negotiate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So talking about how you wanted to kind of diversify yourself, so you're working in a lot of different spaces now in the tech space. So tell me about some stuff you're doing in that space, in some of the other spaces kind of outside of traditional music production. And then I want to touch on what you do, your sound design work, and kind of getting into that, because I'm interested about sound design, because I hear that term and I'm not too, and I know it's a difference between music production and sound design, right? So, So I want to first talk about, we'll talk about sound design first, and then we'll go back into the
tech.
Yeah. So sound design, my question is, first of all, can you define what that is versus traditional production or scoring for film, or in a traditional way? Because I know sound design is a little bit different from what people would know as traditional, TV scoring or film scoring and things like that.
In its essence, fam, it's what it is. It's like you're sound designing to an image.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying? You're making a visual composition. You're sound designing. Gotcha. That's the barest I can break it down for anyone to understand what sound design is you're designing sound to accompany image.
Very cool. Very cool. And do you think that's something that, so I think today placing music on artists. It's not as lucrative as it used to be, especially in the streaming era now. Like it used to be. I mean, and it's interesting as we're recording this, I was listening to Tiffany Red, who's a songwriter, and she's basically talking about how
I'm a fan.
how basically Beyonce, in order to work with her, you have to give her. And I mean, this is common practice. People know that this is what she does. Like she's going to cheat.
Not to cut you off, which blows my mind, fam. I hear this and I relate, but I can't relate. What I just said earlier, you don't just get what you get what you negotiate, fam. But just people go into the game and not understanding, and I'll digress. But people go into the game and not understanding. It's business. Music, but it's get the business straight first, get the understanding of writer share, split sheets, understandings, having your publishing company already set up, And I don't get it after doing it once, twice, this particular female with this writer we're talking about, after once, twice, after a couple of times, it's like you can't really blame someone else for that. It's bad that they take advantage, but at the same time, you can always say no. You gotta know your worth. You feel what I'm saying?
What she does.
Value your worth. Every time you give in, you devalue your worth. And
sure.
That gives people leeway to do it to you again. At some point, man, you gotta stand strong and cut it off. So you won't later on be bitter and look back at it like this. Once, shame on me. No, shame on you, and twice, shame on me. You feel what I'm saying? So I relate to the young lady. It's unfortunate, but at the same time, I don't, man. Some people, you got to understand, she got into the business at a high level and didn't understand it. And yeah, she got screwed.
Well, to clarify a little bit, she's never worked with Beyonce, but she has friends that does, and which I know this is common practice, because when Beyonce gets a record, I don't care if the song is done, she's going to write on it. Why? Because she knows that song is going to go to radio.
Oh yeah,
and she's going to get a percentage of the publishing, even if she did. But what Tiffany was saying is that there's artists that's essentially stealing publishing that didn't write anything, essentially just so if you get a record on Beyonce, that's going to elevate your career as far as the credits as a songwriter. So the way they look at it is, it's almost like it's almost like, if you get on her, it's almost like she's kind of employing you, So, and who doesn't want to work with Beyonce? And from what I'm told, and what I hear is that you almost have, when you get in the room with her, there's no discussion. You're going to sign an NDA. This is what it's going to be, and she's going to tell you what it's going to be.
Okay, that's the choice you made. Then you got to walk. You got to walk in them shoes.
Yeah,
I would never, man.
Yeah. But I will say this too. And what I love about what Tiffany Red is doing, she is fighting for song, because songwriters are the only one that don't get that when it comes to the creation right, they don't have a set fee. They don't get producer fees. They don't get.
No, I get it.
All the things that they don't get, they only get paid if that song releases and really gets on radio. So, so she's fighting for a lot of different things, which I hope she's able to get. And also, too, like she said, the government is what sets their pay rate. They don't get to set the government sets the royalty rate, so they don't even have control of what.
I feel you. I receive it, fam. And there's publishing, and there's writers, right?
Yeah.
There's 100% publishing. There's 100% writers.
Right.
Right. In the writer's portion, that writer has to claim that portion. They have to claim. If they don't claim it, it can get stolen. That's how they get stolen, because they didn't fucking claim it.
Yeah.
You have to know what your portion of that is and claim your portion of that 100%.
I agree. Yeah.
And once you do that, no one can steal anything from you because you claimed it. It's not really standard that writers get any mechanical royalties from the record. It's just really writers. Yeah. And that's being collected by your PRO. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do know some writers, not to go left. I do know writers who get paid to write songs,
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Up front, they get a writer's fee. When you build yourself to a certain level, you can command that.
Yep.
I digress.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. I think that what she's fighting for is some standard practices versus, because again, there's nothing standard in our business. So if you're able to negotiate and get it, you get it. But I think
that's it.
What you
get, what you negotiate. That's
yeah.
to simplify this whole thing. Know what you want and go in and negotiate. And if they're not willing to meet you where you're at, then you all have all rights to say no. No one is holding a gun to your head. You know, you get what you negotiate.
Right.
I mean, I get a standard practice, but the standard practice is people knowing what they entitled to and knowing what they want and going in. That's the practice. You get the knowledge and understand, know what you want and know what you're entitled to, fam. It's not rocket science, fam. I get it. The standard practice start with the writers, not the industry. The industry is going to once you approach them that way, the industry is going to conform. Don't start. If you're waiting for the industry to conform to that, then you whatever.
Yeah. I feel you. I feel you on that, man. Just, feel you on that. But going back to the consulting work that you're doing, man, with so tell me what stuff you're doing in the tech space, different things like that, kind of like, and I know you're doing stuff with distribution, kind of the record label portion of your company. I don't know if you call it a record label, probably more of a production company.
Yeah.
More than a record label, you know what I'm saying? Because I think there's a difference between,
yes, that's something different, fam. But with the tech, man, I'm excited with a couple of clients, one in particular who has starting a television network.
Okay.
And they're putting it together to where they brought me in to where I'm trying to, how can I say this? I'm bringing independent movies. I'm bringing a space to where independent filmmakers can showcase their films, like a Tubi or like different places.
Yeah.
But for independent directors who I've consulted, many of them, different production movie houses who I've consulted, hordes around the globe, who all have this content and have a hard time getting it to like the familiar players in the game.
Okay.
But I say all that to say I'm excited with this because I'm connecting the dots with this new network to have a platform for independent filmmakers to showcase it and, share in the profits and the CPMs, all that stuff, like a real fair deal for independent filmmakers, this situation that we're working with.
Wonderful. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm geeked up on the possibilities of that.
That's awesome, man. I think anytime we can get in the independent space and figure where the revenue comes in, how to partake in that, where, because in the traditional spaces, in your Netflix, in your Tubi, your things like that, they're making so much money,
mm-hmm.
And especially from, because people don't know this, Fox Broadcasting was built by our people. Like when we're back in the days, when
off our backs. It was a known formula.
Right. And so people don't realize like that network exists because they went to African Americans and Black culture, to get that platform off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And we have no ownership in that. We had no ownership in that and opportunity in that, and Tubi's kind of becoming the same deal. Because if you notice, where are all the Black filmmakers going to?
Tubi.
But
see, this is why I'm so excited about this Who network.
Okay.
Coming up, because it's going to be fair. And I mentioned CPM. The ad shares, the revenue. It's going to be real fair and conducive for these filmmakers. Beyond the Tubies and all that, man. This is going to be a whole nother thing, man. I'm super geeked on this, man, because I know so many content creators don't have a place to take these phenomenal independent films. Some of these people got catalogs of man, it's about to go down, fam.
Wow. Yeah. and especially around the globe, because again, it's distribution is always the name of the game, and that's always the toughest part because you can have a great product, but if you don't have the ability to distribute it and where it's fair in the revenue generating portion of it, you know, when and the splits are fair because you go into some of these major movie production houses, the splits are not fair. You know what I'm saying? They're not fair. I mean, you got to think Tyler Perry is the only black major, what we would call major production house owner, right? Go back to what you said before, Keith, about what did Tyler do? Put up his own money. He bet on he bet on himself, and I think a lot of people, because when you bet on yourself and win, they can't tell you anything because this is my money. I bet Dame Dash is the same thing. Like when you bet on yourself and you win, they have to rock with you because you didn't ask, and then you get to retain ownership. They can't take it because
wait till I get my money, right?
right. You know what I'm saying? And for him to, again, I've heard. I respect Tyler. I mean, I thought the documentary that he did on Eminem was pretty cool, and I've heard some mixed things about working with Tyler Perry. But for the most part, I think what he's done for giving people opportunities,
amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. You got to separate the personal from what the man has achieved. The achievements, man. What he's achieved is amazing, man. Absolutely. He broke away, man. It's like it's another side conversation. I'm like all these multimillionaires in the movie industry, a la Denzel and people like that. Like, man, why don't these people just start making their own movies? They got the client, they got the people.
Exactly. You can go right. The whole. Once you're taking the whole Taraji P. Henson thing, in terms of, her feeling like she's not paid. What Taraji got to understand is people really don't care. You're a quote unquote millionaire. People, you're going and crying to people who have nowhere near the money you have.
Trying to figure out
about your problem, and then like that. That's the. I'm not saying that those practices don't go on in the industry, but complaining to people, and the Color Purple movie, the musical, wasn't that good. It bombed actually. It actually didn't do well because one, they probably didn't promote it right, and two, it just didn't do well, and so what. Why are you complaining and then you're bashing Oprah, all the stuff you're doing? At the end of the day, if you want the bulk of the money, you want the bulk of the profit, you got to put the money up.
Put the money up.
That's just the way business works. You know what I'm saying? Entrepreneurs know that if you want the bulk of the revenue share, you have to put the bulk of the money up so that, when you're paid as a talent, you're going to get paid as a talent.
Right.
And that's just what it is. If you want more money, then you have to be willing to I want to be a producer on this film or an investor on this film. So it's hard for people to feel bad for you, Taraji. Like it's hard for people don't really feel bad for you, even though we know these type of things go on in the industry. I mean, when Monique did Precious, that was an independent project, but it was something that she knew could catapult her in terms of how she would be received, because that wasn't a comedy, right? So it would put her in a different stratosphere of what her range is. Because if you look at Denzel Washington, right, for a second, he really only in one lane. He really stays in one lane. You don't see Denzel he doesn't do comedies. He doesn't do a lot of. He really is. If it's action. It's a serious film, but he does not do comedic films. Versus, artists. People like Will Smith and so a lot of these guys, they kind of bounce around and do.
They got range.
They got range in their acting, and that's kind of what Cat Williams was talking about with a lot of these cats. And shout out to Shannon Sharp, and that was a really interesting interview. But I think that going back to the Taraji situation, we have to get together as a community and start making your own projects. Making your own projects and that's what Roland Martin said. If all these people stop complaining, actually put the money up to make their own parties, things would get done. Things would get done. And also, what Tawadi has to understand is you have us, like, when you become that level of celebrity, you have a staff, you have to pay people. So that just comes with being the boss. Right. You can't complain about being the boss if you want to, and this is a whole nother topic that people don't like about the whole equality, men versus women thing, right? But, you know, as men, we kind of understand what comes with that. You want to, if you want to be the boss and be the man, that comes with an extra cost. I mean, you get paid last. That's just the way. That's just the way it works. You know what I'm saying? So you can't complain. Taraji can't complain if you want to be the boss chick and this and this and that. Then you get paid last. Everybody gets paid before you. That's the nature of how it works in business.
Yeah.
You don't get paid first, you get paid last. That's the nature of the game. If you're an artist doing what you're doing as an independent artist, when the money comes in, you have to pay everybody out. And then you get whatever's left, and that might be scraps. That's what, look, I remember PJ Morton did an interview, and he said, when he was first starting out in the independent, he said, I always made sure I kept the job playing at the church and writing songs, because I knew going on my independent tours, I want to make sure my band, my guys were paid.
Right.
So he made sure his cats were paid. That meant he had to go keep a job playing at the church or writing songs for other artists at the time to make sure his guys could always get paid, because that's what he would rather them get paid and them get taken care of.
Keep it going. He's trying to keep it going. I get it.
Right. Versus having to worry about, man, I can't pay my guys. If that means I have to eat a little bit less. And that's just the nature of how this thing works. I think people get into the entertainment business and they don't understand this is not glitz and glam. It's just not sexy. None of this is sexy.
A lot of sacrifices, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. And I think some of these people kind of missed the boat on that. And just like I tell independent art, it's okay to have a 9-to-5. Do what you got to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure you tell people the same thing to artists, like, you got to keep a job, do what you got to do. That's
your inspiration, fam. You'd be surprised. A lot of my people who I consult, they do have the 9-to-5. And I can say happily that I got a lot of clients off the 9-to-5. They're sustaining with their artistry.
Wonderful.
You know what I'm saying?
Wonderful. So, I love to hear that.
That job is your inspiration. Just go into it, you let that be your inspiration to get to what you need to do. I say sleep less.
Yeah.
By any means necessary. My thing is, fam, it's like whether I got paid for music or not, I was going to do it. I was just blessed and fortunate enough to be able to get paid for music. And just with that passion, it's all the other things that happened was byproducts from just the shit I had a passion for. You dig what I'm saying? So
yeah, I love that, man. I love that you do that, and even with stuff that I do, man. Everything with my brand, this podcast, everything is always going to be an extension of me, and I try to make sure I stay in the lanes that I know work for me. I think a lot of times people get pitched these different business ideas. I try to keep everything I do within the same lane, right? Because it's easy to get caught up, especially when music may not be bringing a whole lot, to do other things. And I'm like, what happens is you get farther away from your plan A's. And somebody told me, never let your plan B be too far from your plan A.
And hey, they got to connect somehow, some way.
Yeah, because it's really easy to get caught up, especially if this other thing is working, for you to kind of give up on what you really want to do and know are meant to do. And I tell people all the time, if you walk in your purpose, it'll always work out. It may not work out how you expected it to work out, but it'll work out. Especially if you walk in, and I'm a prime example of that. Sometimes I'm like, money hurting, things are hurt, and something will happen, and be like, hey, I'm like, every single time. because when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and when you stay steadfast in that purpose, I know that me pouring into independent artists, doing what I'm doing, in my purpose, somebody with a special need, that has earned every opportunity, being in Orlando,
Let's
Florida.
go beyond that. See, not to cut your wisdom, fam. Beyond the special need, it's transcended. It's transcended. It's fucking transcended.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the beauty. That's what I love about your situation and watch you grow.
Right.
Everyone is starting to get it.
Right.
Across the
Exactly.
board, I'm seeing it.
Exactly. And I'm really passionate about understanding, and that's why I love this podcasting space and being able to have these great conversations with people and hopefully teach, share knowledge. I always make sure when I have guests that I want to always make sure they can learn something from the guests I bring on, as well as be inspired, to keep going, especially if they have a passion to stay in the creative space, because it's definitely possible, even now more than ever, to make a consistent living doing this. It's possible, and I tell people all the time, like, to make a six figure, even less to make $70,000 a year as an independent artist is very doable, without having a massive following. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What's massive to you? That's all subjective.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And when I tell people, I tell artists, to super serve your audience and figure out how to serve them and what the problem that you solve. This is something I'm always talking about is your music is a problem solver. Everything you do, the films you make are problem solvers. So you got to figure out the community you're trying to serve. You're trying to serve. Who you are, and why should somebody give a shit?
That part.
You know what I'm saying? And when you can figure that out, then you can build out what it is you're trying to do, because the problems that you're trying to solve. I think too many artists come into the space just thinking, and this is also to a lack of artist development too, because we're not taking the time and the energy, and not even is the young artists don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to do the old school artist development that was that the Chris Browns of the world and the Trey Songz of the world. Shout out to Troy Taylor, who guys like that believe in real artist development. And that's why a lot of these cats are still around today, because they were developed. I was watching an interview with Bow Wow, and I'm like, people don't realize his career, speaking of West Coast, right? People don't know, you know that he was signed to Death Row. That he was Snoop's artist, and it
wasn't a good fit for him. It happened. It was supposed to happen.
Right. No. I think Snoop understood that, man. JD know how to take kids and turn people in. But I would say this in terms of as an entertainer, especially a hip hop artist, Bow Wow he's underrated to me. I just think what he's done in his career, to me, he's in the Hall of Fame, and I think he doesn't really get that respect because, he don't really have that classic album. But in terms of just everything that he's done, I mean, he sold out the Garden like 3 or 4 times by himself.
He's transcended, man. Film, television, music. Man,
he has had one of the dopest careers. And because he started so young, he's a couple years younger than me. He's 2 years younger than me, but he's an OG now because he started so young.
That part.
You know what I'm saying? So now he's the guy that you want to go to with all the stories, because he's 37. I'll be 39. In November, and just to see his to see his journey, to hear some of the stories that things that he went through. It's like, man, and I've always had respect for what he's been able to do. And I just think, man, but again, to be in the game for 30 years, because 30 plus years, you know what I'm saying? For yourself, also yourself too, to be in the game for as long as you've been in the game, it's just, you have to always find ways to reinvent yourself, to pivot in different areas, because I think nowadays, learning how to navigate, I think this era of music, which is a content era. I always tell people all the time, the term recording artist in today's world, especially for Gen Zers, that word don't exist. You're a content creator. You're a content creator. with a focus on music. You know,
Right.
A recording artist. That's to me. We use it like that's an analog term. We
Right.
use it, because it just there was a time as a recording artist you don't have to worry about content. You don't have to worry about making. But now that's just the nature of the game. You have to understand the content game in order to navigate into today's space. That's why I said there's a difference between the digital era and the analog era. It's two different spaces. And,
Yes,
and,
sir.
and few people have been able to navigate both successfully,
Right.
and understand both successfully, like yourself, that. But again, you were astute early on to kind of learn and educate yourself on the business of what it is that you're
Oh,
doing.
yeah.
And that's why at 55 years old, you're still relevant, you're still around, people still value what you have to do. And man, that's I'm excited about that because I want to be around that long to what I love to do. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And just making the difference I've made a purpose to serve the 99%, to serve the artists who are starting out, because that's where my impact to me lies the most, and that's why I focus on them and the people that see and it's always interesting when people kind of discover my content and they're like, man, Danduro, you out here spitting game. And I love it when other people kind of validate my points. And I know what I'm talking about, where like I hear from somebody else who might be more well known than me. And then they say what I said, okay, well, that means I know what I'm talking about because I've been saying the same thing.
Oh, for sure. See, and one of the side notes here's this. I don't have a problem. You would think it would be a conflict that we do the same thing, and I big up every time I see you. I run across you, man. I big up your shit, and it's never no competition because, fam, you have a unique perspective,
right.
and they can get something from me, and they can come and get something totally different or a whole different perspective from you. That's the beauty of it, and that's why I don't have an issue with fucking with you genuinely like that. Want to see you win.
Absolutely.
You dig?
And I think, hey, I say the same thing because look, there's enough space for us because each one of us that do what we do have a different perspective and we think about it. And some of us may agree on things and we may disagree on things, and that's okay. That's completely okay. You know what I'm saying? But there's a space for all of us to have success because people work with people who they like, who they vibe with. So that's the nature of the space, man. But Keith, bro, man, this has been a great episode. Great time, great conversation, man. Before we get out of here, man, how can people get connected with you?
All social media at Clizark1. That's CLIZARK, the number 1. All social media platforms. You dig?
Cool.
Holler at me. Let's chop it up.
For sure, man. And if they want to get connected, and the name of your company is what? Your company?
The parent company is Team Mashing Entertainment, but I have Team Winning Consulting.
Okay.
And I have the Team Mashing Distribution, which we have a partnership with Universal Music Group to put music out.
Yes.
Excited about the possibilities of that right now, man. I'm pulling together some independent labels, man, to do some amazing things this year, putting all their power into one focused effort, man. It's an experiment, but I'm geeked up on it. Some offline, I'll put you up on it, man. Maybe some of your clients or artists may want to tap into as well.
Okay, for sure, man. For sure, guys. Well, listen, it's been a great episode, man. This is episode number 86. This is your host, The Real Pierre. Until next time, I'm out of here. Peace.
Peace.